I was just doing it as a secret. Nobody knew me here. I was making money that I had never made being employed. That's for sure. But now when I go to family functions, what am I saying I'm doing? We came all the way down, tukafika, nikaingia, nikapanga, and that place didn't have toilets. Like I felt like my life was stuck and I'm a failure and all that.
Welcome to yet another episode. And on this episode, we are joined by an amazing woman who has moved from barely making ends meet, living with her mom, having lost her dad, and now to owning one of the most luxurious spas in Nairobi, Kenya. Join us as we listen to her story, and I hope it will inspire you. Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, Patel.
Kindly tell us your name, Tell us your name, just introduce yourself and where you've come from and what you do.
So my name is Calista Bonareri. I come from Kisii, Nyanza, but I have gone to school here, grown up here, high school, university, and I've worked here, and so all my life is in Nairobi. Yeah. So this is where I live, and currently I am an entrepreneur. I own a spa here in Westlands called Urban Escape, and so I'm an entrepreneur right now. That's what I am doing.
Yes, and apart from being an entrepreneur, who is Calista? How can you describe Calista?
First of all, I am a mom. I have one daughter. She is 4 years old, almost 4 years old, and I'm also married. I've been married for 6 years. It will be 6 years in October this year, and it's been amazing. It's a marriage, Yeah.
So, Calista, if you can tell us how has life been? How was life growing up? You say you were born. You come from Kisii, but you have been raised here. You went to school here. How has life been growing up?
Well, first of all, I was born in Kisii, but my dad was working here in Nairobi, and so I think when I have 4 older brothers, so I'm the last one. So we moved. My family relocated to Nairobi when I was in class 2. So we all now joined school here, public school. So growing up, we were not in the middle class, maybe lower middle class, and not very poor, I can't say that, but at least the basics we could get. My parents were focused on me getting education. That was very important to them. So I can say it was modest. It was just okay, barely not sleeping hungry at least. And so what I remember is them instilling in us the importance of getting an education, and so they really worked so hard for us to get it. My mom was a housewife, and my dad was the one who was providing for the family. And so, but my mom, she's the one who was, hands-on with us, having her time cooking and cleaning and making sure we have done our homework and going to the school meetings, because my dad would travel a lot outside the Nairobi. So most of the time it would be my mom who would come, for the parents' meetings and look for the schools for us, like when we went to high school. So doing the job of nurturing, and she was really tough and very serious about it. Of course, my dad was the typical figure for I'm going to tell your dad, so you don't want your dad to be told. So they did that very well, and I thank God for them. Went to school, finished, then waited like a couple of years, hustled here and there, because by the time I was finishing high school, my dad passed on the next year. So because given that he was the one who was providing for us, I had to wait for a while, because my elder brother, who by that time had gone to the US to do his studies. So he was the one who was taking care of us now financially. And so he had to take my older brother to school first, and then I waited, and then I went after that. So I hustled in Nairobi, checking newspapers. I remember I used to go to town and do those interviews. I went for one interview for hawking dishes, thermos and all that. And then I met this lady who had already done the job. And so she was really encouraging me. I remember for 2 days we would go to Thika Road, walk and get into offices. And those guys who come and tell you, today we have this thermos, it's 900, but if you take 2. So I did that for 2 days, and I was like, oh my God. And remember, you're going to get paid. There's no retainer. It is you go. And of course the supervisors would encourage you. They're wearing their suits and all that. And I was like, wait, this is hard. As much as it seems promising, but I couldn't. So I hustled like that, and that's how I landed in another job that was for a restaurant. Well, it was a bar. So when I went for the interview, I didn't know it was a bar. I thought it was a restaurant. So it was in Langata. So when I went, and after that one night, I went and talked to the manager, and I told them I don't think I can be able to do this because I thought it's a restaurant. And then they asked me if I can go to town. I didn't know they had a branch in town. So I went to town. It was a restaurant. So I worked there for a year as a waitress. I was being paid 6,000 shillings. And by that time, I don't know how we survived, but I was very focused. Like I learned to serve, and it was good. It was good. And then we would take, like, I was thinking about it, we would take advance. You'd wait for the 2 weeks to take 2K. and we survived, and from there I did that for like a year. And that's where I met one of our clients who apparently had a pharmacy in town, and I didn't know they'd been coming there to take tea. So I remember that day I had tried to go to my parents had tried to take me. Okay, my mom, she had tried to take me for me to go to the US to do my college there. So I got the letter. I went for the interview during the time I was in the restaurant. So when I went to the embassy, they didn't give me the visa. I was denied the visa. So coming from the embassy that day, I was feeling so disappointed, and I was feeling so bad for my mom, because she had really thought that this would be one of those things that would, turning point for me and for the family as well. So I was very frustrated. I messaged that friend of mine, and I asked him if he knew anyone who had a job, like I could do, customer service or reception, or those jobs for, because I had not gone to school, so I hadn't gone to college, so I didn't have a certificate. But I knew at least I could talk to people for sure, or I could learn something. So he told me, oh, you can come tomorrow we talk, and then you tell me. My brother has a pharmacy, and maybe I can see if he can take you. So I did go. Apparently the pharmacy was his. He didn't just tell me. So I did the interview, and then, I got the job, and I became a cashier in the pharmacy. At least now I was being paid 13K. Yeah, in fact, I started with 10, and then after a while, when he saw that I was really good I was diligent, and I was handling money. It was there at Aga Khan Works. It's a good, busy pharmacy. So I think he liked my work, so he actually added me 3K after like 3 months, and I loved the job. I did it for 1 year. That's when my brother, who was by then he had finished his college, and maybe financially was in a position where he could take me to college. So my mom went and talked to him, and I heard that she had been talking to him, asking him if he could just take me to college now. So I had gotten a letter for nursing in Mkumu. So, but then when my mom talked to a few of my aunties, one of them is a lecturer at GQuat. in Juja, and she said, "Oh, that's the grade she got. Why can't she go and do a degree? She can go and do a parallel degree." At that time, I was really passionate about film and writing and all that, and I couldn't find a course that would be okay with my family or with people. So the closest was mass communication. So I went to JKUAT Karen. I did mass communication. I joined, and I was working part-time at the pharmacy, and they were really, my colleagues and my boss were very supportive, and he even told me I can be going to work when I don't have classes. So I did that for like the first semester before the classes became too much, and then you see it was in town, and I was going to school in Karen, and I was living in Rongai, so it was, I kind of now stopped working, and that's how I continued with my college. Did my degree, finished. I got internship in Youth Fund. I did my internship at Youth Fund in public. I fell in love with public relations, so I did that for about a year, and it was hard to get a job. Government agencies, it was hard. So they'd say you need to have a college certificate, you need to have graduated. They needed a certificate so that they can now give me like a job. So it was hard because now the graduation was taken to the next year. So by that time I got frustrated. I was like, no, I can't stay here for long. I left. Then I hustled. My friend connected me to another job in the airport. That one was for sales, safari duty free. I did duty free. I liked it. It was really nice. It was different because now I was dealing with foreigners. It was very busy when the flights come, and I have to learn how to sell. But I learned, and I was good at. I became good at it. So over time, I think I was there for another year. When I started feeling like I'm feeling like I'm stuck. Yeah. There's that. I wanted to work in public relations or communications, and it was feeling like I'm just selling. Yeah. And now I had outgrown it. So I quit. Mm-hmm. And I decided to go to church because that time I was in the drama team for our church, and we had gone for a mission in New Zealand for like 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. And then that time I was with Nairobi Chapel on Rongai. So I was really passionate about mission and drama and acting. I really liked it. Mm-hmm. So when I went back to the airport, that's when I started feeling like I don't feel like I want to be here. I'm not growing. I'm stuck. And that's when I left. I saw a post that they were looking for actors full-time at CITAM. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, this is interesting. Yeah. So let me apply. So I applied, and then I was called. I went and did the interview. I got into the outreach ministry for drama. So there's this drama. It's a Canadian drama at CITAM that it's called Heaven's Gate, Hell's Flames. Mm-hmm. So they had now gotten funding from Cooperative Bank to get full-time actors so that they can travel the country and do ministry, just do the dramas and get people to get born again and all that. And I felt it was a really good experience for me. So it was a 1-year contract. I acted. We traveled everywhere. It was very nice. I really loved it. Then after that, that's when I met my husband there.
During the play?
Yeah. So he was actually part of the crew, the team. We were in the same team. Mm-hmm. So I think maybe I went there to meet him because after I think the contract was to end in December. In December, I got a job in October. Mm-hmm. Now I was feeling like, okay, I kind of feel like now I've done it. Yeah. Now I'm ready to get back. Mm-hmm. And though the offer came earlier, one of my former bosses at Youth Fund, mm-hmm. they had started a company with some friends, and they were looking for someone to go in and do for them PR. Mm-hmm. So they contacted me, went for an interview, and then I started. It was an advertising agency for outdoor advertising. Mm-hmm. So I went. It was nice. So that's when at least I started, using my PR, communication skills, and marketing. And so I stayed there for about almost 2 years. Yeah, almost 2 years. Now in 20, so most of the work I would have to go out, meet marketers, look for clients. Sometimes I'd had to start looking for clients at some point, and it was tough, but it was a good experience. Then when I finished, the company, unfortunately, when it got to 2020, the beginning, so business was not good because first it was it's an agency, it's a small agency. If you know a lot about outdoor advertising, it's very competitive. So kind of there was not enough flow of clients, and so I left. So when I left, it happened that was when COVID was starting. It hit because I left in February, end of February, and COVID came in March. So that was, I think, the end of my employment life. So when I got, just to give you an overview, when I got married in 2018, that's when we got married. Then in 2019, we decided to start a business and like a side hustle. So my husband was working and I was working the agency. So we thought, okay, what kind of business can we do, to bring in an extra income? And I love doing my nails. Like it is just on our budget every month. Like nothing crazy, but I think they say for women, there are people who are hair people, there are people who are face, lashes. For me, my nails, they always just have to look, they make me feel good. Like, yeah, so that's a thing. So I said for all these years I've been doing my nails. So, and it seems like something I love doing. And I think it's a business I understand. Doesn't seem very complicated. So I asked my nail tech at that time, told me the next door neighbor for that spa he was working at, nail bar, that they are closing and they're looking for someone to buy it. So I asked him a lot of questions and it sounded like, okay, it seems like something that we can do. So I talked to my husband and he was like, okay, fine. And I was very excited. And so we ended up buying and paying. You kind of buy, you pay, the owner kind of leaves you everything there. So that's what we did. It was in Imeitika. It was just a nail bar. So that's what we did. So you see now that was there as I was working. So when I stopped working, now I was there full time. I had to be there full time. So during that time, there were a lot of issues with employees, etc. So at least now I was there full time. So that's what I did during the COVID. Of course, now COVID, the barber shops, the salons, it got to a point. I think in April is when they said to close them down. So myself, the business had been going through a lot of challenges in terms of employees, managing them. Like in town, in the area that I was, the system was very different. It was very different. It's rogue. It's very tough. So I experienced a lot of those challenges with my coming drunk. They would come drunk, they'd come late, they'd come whenever they'd want, they would take things from the salon.
This was this was before you got there full time?
Yes. This was happening the whole time I was working. So now I had a receptionist there to stay there full time. Then after work, we would go there. But this was happening. So now when I went back there full time is when I was thinking, okay, now how can I'm sure there are ways that people are actually dealing with these issues. Like other salons are running. How are they running their salons? So I remember that March, I don't know if it was what it was, the beginning of March, I had been having all those problems with the employees and the stealing of the things and the indiscipline and an incident would happen where if they have stolen something, like they've given the machines to the next spa, which is very common, or they'd give your products, you ask the person, and then the next day they don't come. They are going to work in the next spa, that's the next nail bar. So you can imagine, and that would happen so many times. So you'd get your good people have left, or the people who had the clients, or So it was a roller coaster, and I didn't like the system at all because I felt like I wasn't in control, and I still had to ask. You have to ask, why is this happening? You can't just let people do whatever they want. So I thought that beginning of March, I decided. By that time, I had, I think, all the older employees had left, and I remained with one. And I was looking at this rent is coming, and I don't know if we will be able to make it. So I had made that decision in beginning of March to look for a smaller space. So I had moved. So I'd pay. I was still in town. I was paying half the rent I was paying where I was. And that is when, after 2 weeks, COVID hit. So kind of like it was God, I guess, instincts or something. So that place where I was just me, and then I got another Rwandese lady to come and work because I felt like it was easier for me to work with ladies. The guys I wasn't getting guys that I could be gentle enough to just listen and know that we're trying to create this brand. So I worked with the lady as we opened throughout COVID because it was small. So we could only take like 2 people. So it was okay. And it happened that that's the time I got pregnant as well. I had planned to have a baby that year. So I was pregnant. So the whole of that year was that. Me being pregnant and running that business and everybody dealing with COVID. So that was a big transition for me because now, one, I can't get a job. So once the baby came the next year, I had decided to close the business and just take everything home. But clients would call me, and the ones that had started doing their nails, because I had now learned how to do it. So they would follow me in the house. They would come to the house, and then I was like, okay, fine. So that kind of made me feel, okay, now I could get this extra cash. And they're actually coming. I can't say no. They'll be like, no, because I had given them, I had told them places they could go and get the services, but they would be like, no, it's okay, you can just come. So I did that until the baby was about 4 months. And now I was ready to get back to employment. I started going for interviews, and then people would be like, it was very hard, I can say, because now this is post-COVID, and companies are closed. So everybody else is looking for work. So I found it very challenging to get. And so I was looking for work. And now on the side, I was like, what can I do? Because I still need money. The baby is here. What can I do? So I said, whatever skills I have, I can look for a place, but now not in town. Let me look for a place where it's an established salon. I just go serve the clients from there because now they can't come to the house anymore. And then I see as I keep looking for work, and I looked around and I found one here in Westlands, actually here in the building. And I said, I'm going to go and learn and see what exactly are they doing, like an internship, like kind of, but also because I have this time. And I don't know how to just sit in the house and do nothing and be taken care of. So I came, I started working there. I worked there for about a year. And then I had actually started working there before the baby came, because that's when I had already closed, just like the last 2 months of pregnancy and all that. Because I'd looked at, I don't want to close the business or leave someone in the business and I am not here. How am I going to pay rent? So I stayed there for almost a year. Then I decided to take. We normally say you can take like a station. I rented a place within a salon. I could just pay rent and then use it, to serve my clients. Yeah, you understand it, like a common.
Yeah, so you exercise your craft from there.
Yes,
but it's like someone else's.
Yeah. There's those arrangements. So that particular one in the same building, they have that arrangement where you could just rent the station, and then now you could manage your hours. Now that worked for me because I also was feeling the one for coming 8-9 to a certain hour. I needed to be with my baby. Being a first-time mom for me, it was very scary because leaving nannies. I'm leaving the baby with a stranger, and by the time you get the person who you feel you're comfortable with the baby, it was not easy. And sometimes I'd come and then they'd text you, they're leaving, and they're like, oh my God. So So for me, honestly, they changed the whole motherhood thing. It was very hard for me to adjust, and I didn't want to leave my baby just like that. So that's why I even felt like I needed to get the station so that I could just come in, do my appointments, and then I'd go home. Whatever time I wanted, stay with the baby, or if the next morning I was feeling like, okay, I just want to stay in with the baby for a while, I don't want to have to call and ask someone for permission. So that one worked very well for me.
It was more flexible.
It was very flexible, and I felt very comfortable. And it was working because clients were coming. I started growing, but I got to a point where I was feeling stuck, and I was feeling like this is not what. Remember, this was a side hustle. I was just doing it because I didn't have a job. So my dream, of course, was to work in a corporate, have a good PR job or communication job or marketing. And from my background, from where I come from, having a corporate job, like being employed, is it white collar? You call it white collar? Yeah, a white collar job is very important. So I was constantly fighting the thoughts of my family or my friends or just people from that side knowing that I work in a salon. Like, a salon is that place you go to when you've not gone to school. So even I would feel so bad and embarrassed, and I wouldn't tell people what I do. They'd be like, oh, she's jobless, she doesn't have a job, and that's it. And so I'd be like, yeah, I don't have a job. I'm hoping that I'll get a job.
So that one to you was better than people knowing you were working in a salon.
Yeah. So because of comments that I'd get, so I was just doing it as a secret. Nobody knew me here, so it was easy. But it was really, I was making money that I had never made being employed. That's for sure. But now when I go to family functions, what am I saying I'm doing? So I'd feel so bad, and I'd continue looking for work, and I felt like my life was stuck, and I'm a failure, and all that, until I think I got to a point. I talked to a friend. I wanted to maybe do another course in maybe IT, because I was feeling like people who have done IT had a lot of opportunities. Like, it was easy. I'd wanted to go to Canada or to Australia, but when you go to look for the jobs, they wanted, guys who done something in science, tech, medicine, but people in communications, I was feeling like it was a very useless degree. I should have done BCom or BIT. They call it BBIT. Yes. If I would have done that, maybe I would have gone abroad. So I said, you know what, I'm going to start afresh. I'm going to start learning IT. So I remember I bought a course online for IT. I started learning on what's called Udemy. I was very serious, and whenever I don't have a client, I would take notes, I'd write, I'd listen to tutorials, and I was about to do an exam. Then one of my friends, he has a farm also in communication. He's a photographer, but over the years they'd grown, and now they had a PR agency, and it was doing so well. They have multinational clients. So when I spoke to him at some point, I was so confused, and he told me, why do you want to start learning something new in a new industry? You will still be fresh, and it will take you longer to even get to a point where you can actually get a good job. That's what you're doing, that industry you are in. Why don't you focus on it and just become the best at it? And I don't know, I just, that moment is when I actually started accepting that, you know what, it's okay. I am in the beauty industry. It does not mean I am dumb. It does not mean that I'm a failure. I actually make people feel good, and we sit there for like 2 hours and we talk. It's like very therapeutic for people. People come and tell me so many of their problems, and we talk, and after, when they leave, they feel so good and they're happy. And I realized, for me, I'm an introvert, and I love one-on-ones. I don't do crowds, and I think maybe that's why I really enjoyed doing the nails and doing the facials and just spending time with someone. So I made a decision, and I went and told my husband, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to look for another job. I'm just going to grow this one. So I'm going to open now my own place. Now I've decided, because finances were a challenge at that time. Like the duration I had planned to move, it didn't happen. That was the January of 2022. So since it passed, I decided either way, I'm tired of being in this space where we are many. I want to move up. So I went up to on 7th floor. I was still sharing, but we were just two. It was the lady was doing lashes, and now me, I was doing nails. So it was very private, very nice, and the clients liked it, because I realized the kind of clients who were coming, they were clients who wanted privacy. They liked the exclusivity and the privacy. They didn't like the whole big salon thing. So I stayed there for a year, and then there was a time I came to this room, this where we are. They're still on the 7th floor, and I was like, this one is it's exactly the same as the one that's below us. It's the one I had wanted. I didn't know there was a similar one up here. So I told the caretaker, that's the time I felt like, wow, okay, I can actually do this. And so I moved. Just like that, I started thinking about how I'm going to set up the spa, because the other place didn't have a place there was space for massage, but remember it was smaller, and she had lash clients. We also had lash clients. So I decided to take this space much bigger. And now my dream was to have a very private place, very nice and quiet, and we could have massages and facials, because remember I was just doing nails, but then clients would ask me questions about their skin, and they would want to have a massage, and they would want to have a body scrub. Sometimes some of my clients would buy gifts for their friends, and be like, can I send my friend there so that you can do for her, they can get a massage and a facial and all that. And I was like, this seems like I can actually add these services instead of referring them to other spas. And that's how I decided to actually move here to this space. And it's been 2 years now of doing it full time. Like that one, now I can say I am here 100%. And so far, so good. Challenges are there in business, but let me tell you, I feel good because I'm not confused, and I have loved it because I've realized that people come here when they are broken. When someone comes, they want to have some of the clients who'd come, they'll be like, I feel so tired, so exhausted. I'm feeling like I don't have energy. And, they're stressed about their work. They're stressed about their children, or just the family. And maybe they've lost someone. They feel like they just need to get away. And now when they come, and so this is a place for them to just get away, come and get rejuvenated. So once they get their nails done, if it's the nails, or once they get their massage or their body scrubs and they're done, they're like, thank you. Like, I feel so much better. It's not like their problems have disappeared. I've seen what it does. It's so therapeutic. Their brains feel renewed. And so I feel like that's very important, because we don't do that for ourselves. And since we are able to provide that here, I want to provide more of that. And maybe that's the thing that has made me feel, okay, I'm not a failure. Yes, I didn't get a job. I would have wanted to get maybe like a job in, also I say I'm working in X company and I'm taking leave, and I have medical insurance, all those things. I'd really wanted that, but it kind of turned out that this is the path that maybe God had planned for me, and I just embraced it. This is the season has been that. I don't know about the future, but I know this is something that makes me feel fulfilled. I'm not saying that I'm making millions, but I'm saying the impact that I have, like that people get when they come here, that's enough for me. I usually feel so good when I see people come and they leave feeling much better and energetic to go back into their lives. Yeah.
It's actually nice that you've mentioned that, because I wanted to ask you, at the end of the day, what feels like your greatest fulfillment, that you go back home and feel like Leo, I have done something. So that to you is one of your greatest fulfillments.
Yes, that I don't know, the money, money comes and goes. We'd have days where we'd have like, I'd be like, what, the sales are so good, you feel so good, like you've hit your targets for the week in a day. So it's good, but then tomorrow comes and another month comes. That's the thing. Money comes and goes. Of course, we want the money for bills and for our personal uses, family and all that. But at the end of the day, over time, what I have learned, coming from place of being stressed about the business not making money to sometimes making, sometimes not making, and being constant. I think the thing that fulfills me is that thing for actually the client came, we actually solved the problem that they had, and they've gone home and they're happy and they've come back again. The thing that I love the most is when I see the client calling to come back again after like 4 weeks. And I'm very happy about that. Yeah. So even when it's bad and I think, but I count all of the clients that I know that have come back and the ones that have felt fulfilled, and I feel I have the energy. Even if we've stayed for 2 days without a client, I'm like, that one that comes, we are doing something. Yeah. I'm doing something. Yeah.
Amazing. Your story is so inspiring, by the way. I think you're very talented and you do a lot of things, which is very inspiring. And so I want to know, you have mentioned that you are a mom, that you are a wife, you are a business owner. You have done all these things. You clearly wear a lot of hats. How is life like navigating through all these things? How do you balance taking care of yourself, taking care of your child, taking care of your husband, and also being there for your business?
Well, there is no balance. That one is for sure. I have tried to balance it. It is sometimes you're able to manage one, and then sometimes you feel like you've overdone the other one and neglected the other, and then you start taking care of the other. But I can say maybe initially it would be, I'd be here full time from like I'd open early in the morning. If a client comes in at 7, I'm here, and then we have to leave late at 9, I'm still here. So for the longest time I've been giving the business 100%. And then now at home, I'd try my best to make sure during that time it was hard. Maybe the weekends is when I would be home. But then I got to a point where we also needed to be here on Sundays. So for like 3 months, I had to be here 7 days a week, especially when we moved to this location first, because I had to get a team. So training them, being around to manage, because I'm the one who manages the appointments and also just the PR and making sure our standards in customers are being given the services properly. So it requires me to be here. For the longest time, it has required me to be here. But then I like, it was very challenging. Even of course between me and my husband, it would really fight because there's no time. Like on Sundays I have to be here, but he would understand because the business still needs to grow, to run. But then I decided to train the people. Right now we're at a place where I can actually come in later. And even for I think for the most of this year, I've been able to travel, to not come in for like 4 days, and still clients would come in and get served, and then I would hear they're saying they got a good service. So, but before getting there, I still had to, I had to give it. I decided, okay, since I've started and I put in money and I put in energy, I'm here. Let me sacrifice this time now to train and to do as much as I can, so that in the future I don't have to be here. And so now I'm seeing the fruits. It's working because now I'm able to not come in on Sundays. Spend time with the baby, my husband, and then also be able to travel out of town to go spend time, join family and friends, because I never used to do that. I never had time for friends. No, okay, I don't have time for, like, my friends are my clients. because there's no time. If I'm not here, I'm either with my family, like at home, or now traveled for a function that is very, like, it has to be very close to my heart. Otherwise, the rest of the time I'm here. So my clients have become my friends. So we spend the 2 hours talking and chatting, and it fulfills the friendship part. And because some I've had them for over 4 years. Yeah. So now I think that's maybe that could be the balance that's coming, because at least I can come later, because I can now take care of the baby, make sure she's gone to school, then take care of myself, work out and do a few things health wise, because I'm also very keen on health, trying to be healthy, then come to work.
You have mentioned that there is a time after you were done with high school, and then sadly your dad passed away, and now you had to figure out life. How was life like then? Because I feel like the experiences that we go through are what shape now our futures right now. So how was life like then, and what are the experiences that have shaped who you are right now?
Well, so after he passed, so the year before he passed, he had actually retired. So we had relocated to Kisii, because now, of course, who's going to pay the rent? Yeah. And there was nothing, school was not there. It was much more economical for us to stay in Kisii. But my mom really wanted me and my brother to stay in Nairobi, because she didn't like the whole staying in the village and all that. So I remember that's why we looked for a house. I remember we were staying in a house in Kawangware, those sides, for like 2K, me and my mom, at least a place we could sleep. So I'd wake up and go now start hustling. And I do remember my mom giving me like a 200 bob. If I tell her, so today I've seen this, so let me go and try and do an interview for that job. Then my mom would be very encouraging. I think my mom is the kind of person who is very... She didn't go to high school because of all her other siblings, priorities and all that, because she's one of the older ones. But the funny thing is the way she would push us to get education and to push ourselves to get the jobs, and you would think she is actually, I think it's a mom thing. So she would allow me. I feel like she would allow me. She allowed me to go and hustle. Well, I think maybe if my dad was there, maybe it wouldn't have been possible, because he would have asked me to stay. He would cushion me, because now I'm being a girl at the last born. Yeah. But maybe because we didn't have another choice, and we didn't want to. Our only source of income was my brother, who was abroad. It was tricky. Yeah. So I had to go. She would encourage me to, it's okay, go get. And then when I wouldn't get, she would tell me, it's okay, you can try tomorrow. And when I would get, she would be very happy. And then she would tell me, don't worry, you'll go to school. And she would push and push and push. So I remember when we were going for one of the couples who are hosting us, those sites for Naivasha Road, we passed the place where I remember I had gone to look for a house, and the budget then my brother had was 3K. So I went and I looked and I found one, just a room, Yamabati. And I went to call the place we were staying in, Kabiria, I think. Went, looked for a guy from Kokoteni, bargained for 500. Then we teremkad with the two things we had. My mom was up country then. Then we came all the way down. Tukafika, nikaingia, nikapanga. And that place didn't have toilets. Like... So I would be there, I would be like, as long as I can sleep and then cook. And then I had my schoolmates, like, because I went to primary school around the area in HGM, Riruta, near Precious Blood. So when I go hang out with my friends and I'd use the toilets like that. Like, it's funny, I never thought about it until just the other day. I was like, okay. My mom really, like, we really did go through a lot. And then I think around that time, I think we stayed there for like 3 months, and now my brother was in a position to take me to campus. And that's when we went to Rongai. And now budget was 10K. Now I could stay in a 1-bedroom house it's very nice, Moja Road there. So all those things, and even when I was in campus, it was very hard for me to ask my mom for money. I think that's when I started buying earrings in town, and then I'd come and sell, because I knew where is she getting it from. That's the thing. And my brother, I can see how much the school fees is. And he is also in school. He was also in school, and he was working, and nobody is supporting him. So it was one of those things there is no one coming to save you. So it's me being appreciative that I'm actually able to get a college education at that time. So I'm not going to keep asking my mom for money for things. So even she would be the one who would call me and ask me, do you have money? I'm like, no, me, I'm fine. It's okay. And then she would send me like 500, like that. So so all this time I've grown up or doing all these things, I kept feeling like my mom has really, or our parents, no, unfortunately my dad isn't there, but my mom has pushed for us to actually make a life for ourselves, even for my other 2 brothers. It's really, really pushed. So I think from that time I've tried to just make her proud, or make my life something that she would be proud of, so that I am not part of the problem for her. Yeah.
That's amazing. It really tells a story of resilience. You're a very hardworking woman, really. I think you have talked about your journey in corporate. Are there challenges that you faced in corporate, and now looking back, and now you're owning your own business, and you're saying, now looking back at your life in corporate and now owning your own business, how was corporate for you? What were the challenges? How is it much better being in your own space and being able to be in control of like your schedule and all these things? How much better is it, or how was your experience? How is your experience different from corporate and now owning your business?
Well, being in corporate, it was nice. I actually liked the time I was especially in youth fund, because it was government agency. I learned a lot. I met a lot of important people. I was given a lot of good roles. My boss then was nice. I would write. I would go do photography, set up brand events for events. So it was nice. I was doing what I loved, and even the colleagues that I got, they helped. They helped me learn how to actually do it. So it was it was a good experience for me, because I think because I was Uko Junior, I didn't really experience any thing then. The only thing that I felt bad about was the whole point for them needing me to have an actual certificate so that they can give me a job. Yet I had been working there, and I was doing a good job. Even the HR would be like, yeah, you're actually doing a good job, but the policy says that you need to come with that certificate that you have graduated. But then you see now, it wasn't in my control. The school had pushed the graduation to the next year. So I felt like that was very frustrating, and we would even like maybe train people who had come in to actually do our jobs. So I think I was feeling like the system was kind of pushing you down unless you had someone to speak for you, of which I didn't, and it was just fine. So I think doing all these other jobs, maybe the one, the agency, the advertising agency, that one was hostile. where the marketing agency, all of that was very hostile, because then you have to know someone so that they can give your company a job, or a contract or something like that. So I pushed and pushed, but remember, I had not trained to be a marketer. I kind of had to learn to do it, because now it seemed like the company I was in, they didn't have a marketing department, and it fell on me. Now my boss was like, no, you have to go out there and look for clients. So now I had to learn this new industry and going to marketing gigs, so that you can find market managers or procurement guys and talking to them. That's when you start learning, okay, you need to have a relationship with these people, and before someone is able to give you a job, like to give you like an ad, like for you guys to do for them an ad. So I found it very competitive for me. I liked it. It took me so much time to be able to maneuver into those, get into some offices and be able to be given contracts for jobs, and it felt there's a lot of resistance. So I think that was challenging for me, and I remember even after having the baby and going for interviews, you see these marketing events, they usually happen in the evenings, where it's social. Then that's when you can make relationships, like I meet casually, so that it's not in an office. Like if you don't just knock on someone's office, if you meet them where they are casual, you can have conversations. That's the time that most probably they might say, oh, okay, you can come to the office, we talk, and then like that. That's how kind of human beings are. Yeah. So you see how challenging that is, because now that's after working hours, and me, I'm married and I have a child. I do want to get back there. I do want to get this job, this contract, but I still need to be home. So it would feel very complicated. And for me, I also felt like after having the baby, I gained a lot of weight. So even my confidence was very low. I was feeling like I'm just not me. Like I feel like I have lost myself. I don't have the confidence I had. When people see you and you have a child, they're asking you, maybe it's like 9. I remember this work event we went with a friend, and I was like, how? And have you stopped breastfeeding? And I'm like, just like, I don't know. That question really made me feel like you're here, you're supposed to be home. And yet I'm here, it's a work thing, and it's a guy who asked me, and I was feeling, it made me feel so uko chini. Not like it's bad to breastfeed or anything, but you see how someone sees you're not supposed to be here, you're supposed to be at home. So that was it was hard. It was hard. There is something that I have learned, or that I would like to tell. I like to tell people, this is through my experience, that there is nothing wrong with failure. Like, you fail, you learn, then you move on. The moving on part is the hardest, in accepting that these things happen, that things don't always work out the way you have planned them, and nobody is coming to save you. Nobody owes you anything. That's one thing that a friend of mine taught me, and I keep reminding myself that when I'm feeling like, people are not coming through for me, I expected this one to help me here, but nobody owes you anything. Nobody owes you anything. Everybody has their own life and things to sort out. So you can't say, I didn't make it because they didn't help me. No, you're responsible for your own life. So always have that like energy, like even when you're down and you have nothing, and maybe you've put all your money in something, if it is business, or you are waiting for that job interview and you thought that's the job that will come, and they've given it to someone, even if you're the one who deserved it, it's okay. It's not the end of life. Like, I mean, it could be worse, things things could actually be worse. And something I have learned this year from a lot of things that I have gone through is there's different seasons in life. There are good seasons, bad seasons, in between seasons of preparing. So the most important thing is to know what season I'm in. It's like you have entered. It's like we have entered the season of luck. So we're just in that season. So this season of luck, what usually does it entail? So this is what it entails, and this is what got us here. So during this season, because I don't have the money, what can I do? What can I learn? What resources do I need? Resources can be finances, can be people. You can use that time to learn. I like reading. I like reading. I like taking tutorials. Like in my head, I have learned that from a few books that I have read, that whatever you put your mind to, you can do it. Yeah. But if you've already decided you can't, then you can't. It is impossible. I have seen myself challenging myself and saying I can do that as long as I have the vision. Having the mental picture is very important. It is very important. I picture everything in my head, and every day I think about it, and I rearrange, but I have my vision. So slowly it comes to manifest itself. It might sound like a cliche, but if you don't see it, if you don't draw a picture, and if you don't have that vision, it's very hard to get there. And how will you know you've gotten there? So even if things are not working out, sometimes even here, I get so many challenges just running the business. Like maybe, you've stayed for a day or two, there are no clients, or the clients are there, or a machine staff have damaged a very expensive machine. So what do? Do you close? You don't close. You have to have that anticipation. Anything can happen, and if it's not gonna kill you, it's gonna make you stronger. So there will always be someone, and this is something that everybody needs, or I would encourage someone to have people around you who speak life to you. You need to have people who, when you go and you tell your dreams and your visions to, and your thoughts, they're not discouraging you. You will have those ones who are discouraging you. Take to them different things, not the things that are very important to you, but the things that are close to your heart that determine where you're gonna go. Be very particular with who you share them with. Like you will find yourself in those crossroads. Like for me, I don't share. I have very specific people that I go to with specific things, because I know what they will tell me, and I don't want someone to discourage me, because I'm already discouraging myself. You already have enough negative thoughts. You don't want someone else to destroy it. So you'd rather have one friend that speaks life to you, and maybe mentors. It's good to have mentors, and just listen to them. People have been through this before. We are not the first people.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us and for sharing your story today. And I think our viewers might not know, but this is your place of work. It's such a beautiful place you have here.
This is my spa is called Urban Escape. Urban Escape Spa. It's located in Westlands. We're in the Woodvale. Woodvale is the street that has Westlands Market. It's near Sarit Center. This other side is Naivas. So we're on the 7th floor, suite 725. We do manicures, luxury manicures, luxury pedicures, and we also do facials, massages, body scrubs, and soon would be having maybe a steam and a sauna, God willing. Then we also do lashes. You can find us on Instagram. We are urbanescape-ke. And then on TikTok, Urban Escape Spa. On Facebook, Urban Escape and Wellness. Then, I think, and then you can check out our website as well. Our website is www.urbanescape-ke.com. Then that's where you can book for or just interact with us. I think that's that.
Thank you so much for this time.